Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for joining me here again today. I really appreciate every single one of you for taking the time to watch my videos, and today I have something very special to share because it is about an aircraft that has become a symbol of modern air defense flexibility. It has a more powerful General Electric F414 engine, giving it more thrust than the older CD models. Sweden built this jet with the idea that if a major air base were destroyed, the Air Force could still launch fighters from sections of highway or small regional airstrip. That means a country doesn't need massive, expensive air bases to keep its Gripens in the air. The price for one Gripen EF is estimated at about 60 to 70 million US dollars per aircraft. Thailand, for example, uses Gripen CD models at Wing 7 in Surat Thani to protect its southern airspace. The Royal Thai Air Force chose the Gripen partly because Saab offered a complete package, including an air defense system, radar upgrades, technology transfer, and local training. Thailand's experience shows why the Gripen is attractive. You don't just get the jet. You get a whole system that a country can maintain itself without having to rely too heavily on foreign contractors. It's designed to be maintained by small crews with minimal ground support. Saab designed it with an open architecture, which basically means it's easy to install new radars, weapons, and software without having to redesign the whole aircraft. You don't always need a heavy twin-engine stealth jet if your main mission is to patrol borders, intercept unknown aircraft, and occasionally do light ground attack. For many nations, the Gripen's capabilities are more than enough. For buyers, this means you don't have to throw away your jets after 10 or 15 years. You can upgrade them to stay up. It's powerful enough to hold its own in a fight, flexible enough to perform multiple missions, cheap enough to buy in decent numbers, and simple enough to maintain without huge hidden costs. How countries like Germany view it strategically and what makes it so special. If you learned something today or enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you subscribe to my channel for more honest, well-researched content about military tech aviation and how countries protect themselves in today's complex world. Thank you for watching till the very end. See you in the next video. Whether it's defending Sweden's forests and lakes, Brazil's massive coastline, Thailand's southern skies, or a keyword list for this video too, just say yes and I'll write it for you. Or maybe even showing up on Germany's radar as a useful comparison. The Gripen shows how smart design can balance cost, technology, and national security. In the 2025 version, the data links and sensor fusion are improved, so the pilot gets a single, clear picture of the battlefield, combining information from radar, infrared sensors, satellites, and other jets. This is the same approach the U.S. uses in the F-35, but Saab does it in a lighter, cheaper package. It can be refueled and rearmed in the field. It can land on short, rough runways, and it costs less per flight hour than almost any Western fighter in its class. Around $4,500 to $7,000 per hour, compared to about $20,000 for the F-35 or $15,000 for a When you hear that one Gripen costs 60 to 70 million dollars, you have to remember that's just the plane. The answer is probably no, but they absolutely watch what Saab is doing because it affects the market for fighter jets in Europe and even influences how much they pay for Eurofighters or potential new aircraft. And for other countries in Europe or Asia, the Gripen remains one of the most realistic options when you want top-tier capability without emptying the national budget. The real value comes from how easy it is to operate, maintain, and upgrade. Countries that buy Gripens aren't locked into a huge defense contractor forever. They can train local engineers and pilots, build their own spare parts, and adapt the jet to their unique needs. That is why so many defense analysts say that Gripen is less about buying a jet and more about buying freedom of choice. For countries with limited defense budgets, this is a huge deal. It means you can afford to keep your pilots flying more hours, which makes them better prepared if they ever have to fight. But you can't just buy a jet by itself. You need spare parts, pilot training, maintenance, equipment, weapons, and sometimes even new runways or hangars. The answer is, realistically, Germany probably won't buy Gripens anytime soon. Saab has been very smart about this. They know they won't win big sales in places like Germany, but they might help Germany's smaller neighbor. This keeps the production lines going, drives innovation, and gives countries more leverage in NATO because they are deeply invested in the Eurofighter program, which they co-produce with the UK, Spain, and Italy. The Typhoon is more expensive, more powerful in some respects, and built partly to keep European aerospace jobs alive. But that doesn't mean German defense planners ignore what Saab is doing. They compare all options to keep negotiations fair when they upgrade or expand fleets, knowing that there's a modern, cheaper European fighter out there, and that countries like Brazil have ordered dozens, helps Germany and other NATO states benchmark prices and capabilities. So when a country buys a full package, say 8 or 12 aircraft, with weapons, simulators, spare engines, and a long-term maintenance deal, the total contract can easily be $800 million to $1 billion, depending on what's included. Compared to an F-35, which often costs $80 to $100 million per plane and has higher maintenance costs per flight hour. The Gripen is often half the total long-term cost. It's a flexible and smart design that suits smaller countries with large, rugged territories. It can take off and land on runways only 800 meters long, be refueled and rearmed by a small ground crew, and be back in the air in under 10 minutes. It also comes with a Stedavire, called the Raveneer, which can scan a wider area and track multiple targets simultaneously with better resistance against jamming. It works with the Meteor Beyond Visual Range Air, which is considered one of the best in its class, because it has a range of over 100 kilometers and can adjust its path mid-flight to chase maneuvering targets. The Gripen can also carry MRAMs, high-risk short-range missiles, laser-guided bombs, smart bombs, anti-ship missiles, and even reconnaissance pods. In simple terms, one Gripen can defend airspace, attack ships at sea, support troops on the ground, or gather intelligence, all in a single mission if needed. This is critical because modern air combat is all about who sees first, who fires first, and who can hide from enemy radar the longest. The Gripen ES new radar and advanced electronic warfare suite mean that it can jam enemy radars and communications more effectively, giving it a real advantage in contested skies, and smart investment for many countries that want high-end fighter capabilities without having to spend billions like the world's biggest military power. Today, we are going to take a deep look at the JAS-39 Gripen, specifically the upgraded version that is expected for 2025. I will tell you what makes it so special, how much it costs in US dollars, why Germany and other European countries sometimes keep an eye on it, even though they have their own fighters, and why this aircraft keeps showing up as a top choice for countries with practical defense needs and smart budgets. So, first, let's understand what the Gripen really is. The JAS-39 Gripen is a multi-role fighter aircraft developed by Saab from Sweden. The word JAS comes from the Swedish words for fighter attack and reconnaissance. So right from the name, you know that this jet was built to handle multiple missions: air defense, ground attack, and surveillance. The first Gripens flew in the late 1980s and early 1990s, and since then Saab has continuously upgraded the design with new avionics, weapons systems, and engines. Over the decades, Gripen has earned a reputation for being one of the most cost-effective modern fighters in the world. Perfectly designed for countries that don't want to rely completely on big superpowers for their defense needs. The Gripen version we're talking about today, the Gripen, or sometimes just called Gripen 2025, is the newest and most advanced evolution of this fighter. Another big selling point for Gripen is that it is designed to operate from short runways or even simple roads. Now, let's talk about weapons. The Gripen 2025 can carry some of the world's best missiles and bombs. So what about the price? This is where the Gripen really shines for many countries that need to modernize, but they have unlimited budgets. This is why the Gripen has become popular in countries like Thailand, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Brazil, and South Africa. Now, let's talk about Germany, because many people ask, why would Germany even think about the Gripen when they already have the Eurofighter Typhoon? There is also a scenario where smaller NATO allies who can afford a full fleet of Eurofighters or F-35s look at the Gripen as a second line of defense. So, what makes the Gripen truly unique? Isn't just its radar or weapons or price tag, it has the philosophy behind it. The Gripen's technology keeps evolving too, and because the Gripen is small and uses efficient engines, it's also good for countries with smaller airspaces. All of this brings us back to the price in dollars. So, when people ask, could Germany ever really buy? To sum up, the JAS 39 Gripen 2025 is one of the best examples of smart military spending in the modern world. I hope this gives you a clear picture of why the Gripen keeps coming up in discussions about modern fighter jets. How much it costs in dollars. If you'd like, I can create a YouTube description. SEO hashtags, ask, ChatGPT tools,